Hello everyone, welcome to another Satellite Sunday video. Today I will be talking about nitinol, which is a certain type of metal that we are going to be using on our payload. So nitinol is a name we give to an alloy of nickel and titanium. Usually comes in something like you see on the right, this sort of wiry metal, pretty thin, pretty small. And the reason this is such an interesting metal may look pretty inconspicuous, but the reason it's so interesting is that this exhibits a property called shape memory, which is why you will also sometimes hear this type of metal referred to as a shape memory alloy. Now, what shape memory is basically we're going to tell and program this piece of metal to remember any shape that we want, and then whenever we heat it up to a specific temperature, it will transform back to the state that we told it to remember from whatever state it's currently in. And this is best and most easily seen in this little video demonstration here. And what you're about to see here is a paperclip made out of nitinol that we have told to remember this paperclip shape. And I'll get to exactly how that works in a minute. But for the purposes of understanding how this alloy is used, watch as this paperclip is deformed, twisted up, bangled, and then put back in this hot water. This hot water activates this metal through the heat, and it'll go back to this paperclip shape almost like magic.
This is no ordinary paperclip. In fact, it's made from nitinol, and it has some unique qualities. Let's bend it into a completely different shape. Okay, I think that should do. Now watch what happens when I drop this into some hot water. Now that is pretty darn cool.
Now, to take a little bit of the magic away from it, I know it's super cool. There's a lot of chemistry going on behind the scenes here that is really good to know, but for the purposes of just understanding how this works is kind of besides the point. Basically, in a nutshell, we can take this piece of metal, hold it in whatever shape we would like it to be. Say we want it to be in the paperclip shapes. We'll bend it ourselves to a paperclip shape, clamp that down and hold it to be sure it cannot move, and then heat this up to about 500 degrees Celsius for a few minutes, which will program this shape into the metal. Now, once we take it out of this furnace after it's been heated up and programmed, we can cool it down by quenching it in water really quickly, and now it is ready and good to go. Now we can take this paperclip, deform it how we want, bend it, twist it, whatever we want to do, and then when we want that paperclip shape back, we can heat it up to its activation temperature. And this activation temperature is really a combination of a lot of different critical temperatures present in the metal. But for our purposes, we only really care about the activation temperature as described by wherever we buy and purchase this alloy. Say the activation temperature is 50 degrees Celsius, which is above room temperature, meaning when we're working with this paperclip in our hand, deforming it, it's not going to change to its original shape. But once we put it in water, that's 50 degrees Celsius, or run electricity through it to heat it up past 50 degrees Celsius, this paperclip will go and return to this paperclip shape. So, if you don't remember anything, just remember these two temperatures. Remember, we set the memory at 500 degrees Celsius by holding this wire in place to whatever shape we want it to remember. And then the other important temperature is the activation temperature, which will vary depending on the composition of the alloy. It may be higher given more nickel or more titanium, and that's something that we have a lot of control over as manufacturers. But whatever that activation temperature is, once we heat it to that activation temperature, it will deform and transform back to the shape we programmed it to remember. So now, how does that apply to what we're doing on the satellite team? So we would like to use this nitinol as a method to deploy solar panels. So basically what we want to do is use this nitinol as the structure and actuation device to unroll or unfold a series of solar arrays. We can do this by setting the nitinol to remember a flat shape, a perfectly flat shape, just as you see here. We can program it to remember this flat, extended shape. Then, before we launch, we can roll up the panels, fold them, make them more compact, and then when we're in space, ready to deploy, we can run current through the nitinol to heat it up and tell it to go back to this flat activated shape. From there, we now have a fully deployed solar array without the use of any motors or servos or any other big kind of bulky components. So I hope this quick video helped you understand what nitinol is at its most basic level. There is so much to learn about this material. There are countless research papers and active labs working on this nitinol material and understanding more about its properties and what it can do. It's already currently being used in the medical world, I believe, as in stents and other small devices that get put inside the human body. And it's currently in active research and in space as well. There are a few papers that I can give to you if you would like to learn more about where this is being researched elsewhere, as well as more resources. You can go and learn more about this material on your own because there is really just so much here to learn. And with that, I'm looking forward to learning more with you.